Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 265 of the podcast, or you're joining me live on YouTube or Twitter since apparently we're still banned from Facebook. I don't know what I did to hurt your feelings, Facebook, but here we are. I guess you guys could still watch on YouTube and Twitter. If you want to catch the show live, make sure you turn on your notifications. Make sure you're following the channel. That's the first step. I had a buddy from the gym. He said to me, like, how come I never know when your show goes live? And I said, well, you got to turn on your notifications. And he went to turn on the notifications, and turns out he wasn't even following the YouTube channel. So if you ever wonder why you never catch the show live, check those notifications. I know quite a few of you used to have them set on Facebook. Unfortunately, we're not on there anymore. I don't know if we'll be allowed back or not. It doesn't really matter to me because here we are, still on YouTube and Twitter. And of course, if you want to follow on Twitter, you can turn notifications on there too. Just follow at MMA on the Rocks. Today is Sunday, November 28th. For anybody keeping track, hope everybody had a restful and relaxing Thanksgiving. Hope you didn't overdo it on the food or the booze or both. I know it gets pretty easy to do. I had a very quiet Thanksgiving. My in-laws were out of town. We didn't have any other family around, so it was just the three of us. I didn't even make a turkey because we had turkey the week before, like a Friendsgiving party. I did make my my spiced rum cider though, that I make every holiday season. If you guys want the recipe for that, go over to Instagram and check out the latest post there, and you can see the recipe for my rum cider. No episode last week. Apologies for that. It was my fault. I went to Orlando last weekend to hang out with the wife's cousins and my nephews, and I forgot my laptop. So I didn't want to half-ass an episode for you guys and do it on my phone and try to figure all that nonsense out and just make it frustrating. So we skipped a week. I mean, we get about 49, 50 shows a year usually. Sometimes more if I do some other segments. I know a lot of you are waiting for the whiskey channel. It's still in the works. Maybe 2022 will be coming your way. I'm drinking some tea here because I'm a little under the weather, and I blame my buddy Matt Temple for this. So we all woke up sick on, I think it was on Thanksgiving actually. So the wife, kiddo, myself, we all had like a head cold. My wife got it the worst, which is surprising because she usually never gets sick, never has allergies. I can count on one hand the number of times that she's been sick in the 8 years that I've known her. But yeah, she got it the worst. My daughter got it the least of all of us. She bounced back pretty quick. And usually, head colds, sinus infections, things like that hit me really hard because if you're watching the video here, you can probably see, my nose is pretty mangled. It's been broken a few times. I've got a badly deviated septum. And then I've just always had bad sinuses. Like I was always prone to sinus infections and ear infections as a kid. So I get over it pretty quick. By midday Friday, I was fine. Saturday morning, felt great. Went and sparred yesterday. I was telling my buddy Matt about sparring, and he was like, wow, you got over your cold pretty quick. And I woke up today, and my throat was like almost closed shut. I could barely talk. So I've been sucking down tea and lozenges all day. I was hoping Jeff would jump on here, but wasn't able to get a hold of him, and I only had a small window to record the show today. So we'll see how much of this I get through. If I could talk through the whole show. I got my tea. There may or may not be whiskey in it. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. The whiskey's over here on the side. I wouldn't ruin the flavor of this whiskey with tea leaves. That would be absurd. I'm sipping a little bit of Old Granddad 114. You know, Kentucky Cold Cure. A little bit of bourbon, high proof bourbon, coats the throat. And, you know, if anything else, it makes you at least not care that you're sick anymore. So, cheers. Just a few sips here and there. I wouldn't want to. I want to turn this into a dry show. You know, we got to stick to our roots here on MMA on the Rocks. Anyway, I hope everybody had an awesome Thanksgiving. Hopefully, it wasn't too awkward for you guys. People starting to talk politics and all that kind of nonsense that is so divisive, you know, which is why I stay away from that kind of stuff. My wife dabbles in the political talk on social media, or she tries to, and she posted her opinion on, I guess, a controversial topic on Facebook the other day. And what makes me laugh is people announce that they're unfriending her, right? Which is among one of the most childish things you could do as an adult, right? To announce like you're not going to be I'm not your friend anymore. I just want you to know because I don't agree with something that you said. Like, give me a fucking break with these grown people. You can't handle someone's opinion to the point where you need to not only unfriend them, which has become a word now, but announce that you're doing it. All right. See you later. I see stuff on the internet all the time that I disagree with from people I don't really care to be friends with. You know what I do? I just keep scrolling. I don't give a fuck. It's one of the reasons why I've been like untrollable. It's very difficult to push my buttons. You know, I'm a big fan of just, you know, letting people wallow in their ignorance. Whatever you want to think is fine. You know, my buddy Steve Maraboli says, at this point in my life, you could tell me 2 + 2 is 5, and I'll tell you you're right. Have fun. Shout out, Steve. Very wise man. All right. I think we're back. All kinds of technical difficulties. I'll very quickly go over the card from last week since there was no UFC this week, and I didn't watch that Triller Abomination. I saw the highlight of Frank Mir getting brutally knocked out by some boxer. I guess it was boxing and MMA gloves. I don't even know what this show was. And I guess Mike Perry won a controversial split decision. I didn't realize Mike Perry was even on this thing. I thought he was in bare knuckle boxing. Speaking of which, December, let me make sure I get this right. I believe it's December 9th. Yes, 2 of my friends and teammates on December 9th will be fighting bare knuckle boxing here in Tampa at the Hard Rock Casino. Dave Mundell, who you guys all know and love, he's been on the show multiple times. And my training partner and my boxing coach, J.R. Ridge, is going to make his bare knuckle boxing debut. So excited for those guys. You know, they're out of their minds. And I tell them that openly. Like, I don't know why anybody would go and do this, but BKFC put a number on a piece of paper. That number was high enough for these guys to want to go get in there. So good on them. I hope they both do well. I hope they come out of it without any broken hands or broken cheekbones. But they're both a hell of a lot crazier than me. And as a teammate, I'll do whatever I can to help them get ready for it too. So keep an eye out for those guys. The bare knuckle, I know I've been hot and cold with it, because I've been to a few, and like some of the cards have been really good, and then some of the cards are like, why are you doing this to these people? Like, they shouldn't be in there. That's a 49-year-old retired MMA fighter. But people got to do what they got to do for a paycheck, I guess. So there's that. December 9th. And let's talk about this at the beginning of the show. How about the merchandise? We got MMA on the Rocks t-shirts, hoodies, and tank tops. I don't think you guys will be needing tank tops anytime soon, but they got them. I don't know if you work out inside, maybe. Our friends at Team Reaper, reaper1.co. Go grab yourself some MMA on the Rocks merchandise from them. You can use the promo code MMA Rocks 10. It's MMA ROCKS10. They're also doing free shipping for Black Friday. I don't know if that's still going on, but you can still get the 10% off with the promo code. So free shipping for Black Friday. I don't know if that's going on by the time you hear this, but go check it out. Sign up for their email and newsletter so you can find out, when they're doing those kinds of deals and promotions and stuff like that. And again, the promo code you could use across the entire website. So if you want to get some training gear or anything like that, you can use the promo code for that. Get yourself a new gi, a new backpack, Team Reaper hat, or get some MMA on the Rocks gear. Help support the show. I'll spend the money on alcohol. I'll tell you, I'll be upfront about that. In any case, merchandise. I always forget to talk about it at the top of the show. I always wait for the end, but there you have it. It's hoodie season, folks. Buy two, because your girlfriend's going to steal one. Whose girlfriend wouldn't want a hoodie that says over the top, under the influence? If she doesn't want it and she doesn't steal it, then you find yourself a better girlfriend who will. And then buy two. All right, here we go. Last week's card, we got Bruce in here. Tate is washed and needs to retire. She could do well modeling or even porn, probably make more money. Well, I don't think it's a money thing for Miesha Tate, because I think she was doing pretty well over at One Championship, where she was a pretty high executive, if not a president or something like that. I imagine she was making a good paycheck. Like, they paid her to move to Singapore and everything like that. So I don't think this is about money. I think it's about, she feels like her legacy wasn't done. Now, if Miesha Tate did walk away or never even made this comeback, I would say she's definitely still a legend of the sport. I mean, her win over Holly Holm and the way it happened on the fight card it happened on with Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, that fight changed the whole environment of MMA. So the fact that she was able to win the championship on that kind of platform, and the way she did it, like choking her unconscious, that was pretty badass. That'll always be my memory of Miesha Tate. As for last week's performance, I mean, look, yeah, it was a pretty bad beating towards the end, but she did go the distance with a top contender in Ketlen Vieira. And her takedowns looked good. Her striking looked probably the worst it's looked. she was doing that weird kind of like extending her arms thing. So, which is good if you have an opponent that's throwing like big looping shots. But if it's a precision striker that's throwing right down the pipe, you don't want to have your hands out like that. And unfortunately, she got her face battered a little bit. But she was in there. She went 5 rounds after being away from this for 6-7 years, whatever it was. Coming back and winning against Marion Renault. Say what you will about Marion Renault, but she beat her. And then to come back and actually go the distance in a 5-round fight, which she hasn't done in years and years, and after having 2 kids, no less. I don't think she'll have to resort to porn or modeling. I mean, not that she couldn't. I'm sure if she wanted to do an OnlyFans or something like that, she could do very well. But Miesha Tate is smart and competitive, and I don't think she needed the money. I imagine one was paying her pretty handsomely to be over there. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to have an MMA mind like Miesha Tate at the top of your organization? So whatever she decides to do, I mean, she seems like she still wants to make a run. But if you're getting hit that much by Ketlin Vieira, it's not going to be pretty if you're taking shots from Amanda Nunes. You can't be just taking shots like that, because Amanda will put your lights out. It doesn't matter who's standing in front of her either, especially what we've seen her do to 145-pound women. I think there's a very slim chance we even have to worry about that anyway. But anything could happen. She could come back, shut somebody out, and then there's nobody to fight Amanda Nunes. There's just not. So even with this loss, and I'm not saying I think it's right, but she could still be one fight away from a title shot, realistically, because there's just nobody else to put in there. Bruce says that one is irrelevant and would go bankrupt soon. But my point is, she's got it on her resume now. Like, she can do other things. I believe she has a successful show on Sirius. Like, I don't think she'll have to resort to selling her body on the internet. Let's get to co-main event. Sean Brady, Michael Chiesa. Man, strong showing from Sean Brady. Like, if you told me how this was going to go down, that he was going to out-grapple Chiesa, I probably would have bet some money against you. I wouldn't have seen it going down like that. I would have thought, he would use more of his striking, but Brady's legit, man. The only problem is, like, he has a performance like that in a co-main event, and then he gets the microphone and he's just like, whatever. Give me somebody. So, if I'm the promoter and I'm hearing that, like, I already forgot what you just did. You gotta insert yourself a little bit more, especially in a division where, there's a lot of uncertainty at the top. The champ is running through for his second lap. He's fighting guys for the second time. Covington, and he fought Masvidal twice. You got to open your mouth in that scenario, because, like, and now there's a week off. Like, people already forgot. I don't want to take anything away from his performance. I thought he looked phenomenal, especially against a grappler of the caliber of Michael Chiesa, because we know that dude's a beast. And he's huge for welterweight. The dude looks like a middleweight in there. I know I say it every time, but I can't believe that dude ever made 155 pounds. I don't know what the hell he was doing. I've never been a big fan of cutting weight, so I can't imagine what he was doing to get down that small. I mean, you see him next to guys like Rashad Evans. They're like the same size. It's crazy. But anyway, congratulations, Sean Brady. But I mean, you got to do something to get yourself noticed here, pal. You want to crack into that top 10, get close to a title shot, which, the division needs some fresh blood here. Like I said, the champ's running through for the second time, and he's looking for some contenders. So you got to make your presence known. And unfortunately, a shutout performance against the Michael Chiesa is not going to be enough to do it. Let's see. Taylor Santos submits Joanne Wood, and Jeff and I were confused about this the week prior. Apparently, she married a guy with the last name Wood, and she didn't just drop the Calder from her name. So now it's Joanne Wood. All right, here we are. Santos looked good. I mean, first round submission. It doesn't get much cleaner than that. Ronnie Yaya, unanimous decision over Kyung Ho Kang. I'm a big fan of Ronnie Yaya, man. He's just, his jiu-jitsu is so good. It's just, and his striking's come a long way too, but that jiu-jitsu, man. And I'll always think highly of Ronnie Yaya for winning a fight a week after his mother passed away. That's like next level mental strength right there. That he's a legend, man. He's been around for a long time. He's been fighting for a while. In fact, let me click on old Ronnie here, see how long he's been around. I know he's up there for like at the top of most submissions in UFC history at 21 submissions. Let's see, when did he start fighting? This dude's got a resume and a half. 2002. I know that's a long time ago because that's when I graduated high school. That was forever ago. All right, big win for Ronnie Yaya. Adrian Yanez, split decision over David Grant. I don't know why this was a split decision. Like, this was a clear, maybe David Grant won the second. Yeah, he won the second round, I think it was. But, yeah, this should have been, I don't know which one of these judges gave the fight to David Grant. That was ridiculous. He maybe won a round in there, but by the end, he was like a bloody mess. Yanez looks the same as when he first walked out. Let's see. Anything else worth talking about on here? I remember they were good fights, but nothing really nothing really sticking out. I did catch most of this card too, and then realized I was without my computer, and oh well. Mark Fellows wants to know if anybody saw Teofimo Lopez against Kambosos. I did not see it, but Lopez looked like he got battered pretty bad. I only saw the post-fight interview where he was upset at the decision, saying he won the fight, but like if you just looked at his face, like he didn't win. If that's winning, like call me a loser. I don't want to win like that. Lopez is a bad dude though, so I guess it was a good fight. Maybe I should go back and watch it. I just don't. I don't set my alarm clock by boxing anymore. It's just not. It doesn't do anything for me. When the Canelo Triple G first fight was scored a draw, I was like, man, this shit's rigged. I don't want to watch this anymore. And then the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder first fight, when they called that one a draw, when Wilder had only won 2 rounds, it's like, come on, what are we doing here? Like, what are we watching a competition, or are we watching like people judging a pageant or something that's like subjective? We decided ahead of time, unless this guy gets knocked out, he's gonna win or get a draw. Like, man, I used to love boxing too. I used to schedule my time around it just like I do with MMA now. Here's what I want to know: it wasn't Triller, it was Triad or something. So this new promotion, I guess they're doing. Is it boxing or is it any kind of striking with MMA gloves? And they're signing some big names. So here's why I don't think that this is like a sustainable thing. Like, you keep coming out with a new thing, it's like we already have MMA, which is, mixed martial arts. It's kind of like that's everything all in one, as close to a street fight as you could get. Then you have like, oh, well, we'll just do jujitsu. Maybe people will watch this. Oh, we'll do jujitsu, but you could slap people in the face. Oh, we'll do jujitsu, but you have to end up in certain positions. Oh, we'll do boxing, but without gloves, and we'll do bare knuckle boxing. We'll do boxing with MMA gloves, and then we have Muay Thai in a cage with MMA gloves. Like, at what point is it too much? Or we're going to do karate in a pit. And it's like, it's all exciting, but it's too much to follow. It's too much to keep up with. Like, there's nobody out there who could tell me, like, who's the champion of bare knuckle boxing, who's the champion of UFC, who's the champion of Bellator, who's the submission underground champion, who's the EBI slap fight, whatever. My question for you guys, so American says it's Triller Triad. Okay, so it is Triller. It's just they're new. I wonder what the triad means. It's like we'll triad it out, see how it goes. Let's see. Total garbage. Boxing with punching in the clinch or something. I wish I had more hands to give those titties 4 thumbs down. Okay. So I guess nobody's a fan of this triad thing. I'm glad I didn't waste my time or, heaven forbid, my money on it. I think it was like $20. I'm sure there were, some unsavory streams going around the internet. I'm not going to say I ever partake in such things, but that's $20. You know what? That $20 could buy you a bottle of Old Granddad. I think I'd have a better time with that. I just watched catch the highlights on Twitter of the triad stuff. Yeah, it just doesn't seem sustainable. Like, how many different things are we going to do here? Like, how many different aspects are you going to pull from MMA and from boxing? Like, well, what are we going to do next? Are we going to do mud wrestling? Is that going to be a thing? Or like Turkish oil wrestling? Where they grease each other up and they start shoving their hands down each other's pants. We're going to do that now? Because Mike Perry will probably do it. You could probably get him. I'm just saying. Put enough money on the table, you get Mike Perry oiled up, ready for some Turkish oil wrestling. In any case, like I said, I'm torn about it because I got a couple of buddies that fight in the bare knuckle, and they've gotten some good paydays out of it. But I don't see it as something that's going to be around. Where like the average person knows, who a bare knuckle boxer is. When I tell people I have a friend who's taking a bare knuckle boxing fight, they're like, "What the fuck is wrong with him?" They're not like, "Oh, bare knuckle boxing, where can I watch that?" At least UFC, like, people know of it. People know of boxing, like, but there's a lot of people. Like, I remember in the 90s, like, everybody knew Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion of the world. Now, if you ask, my kind of barometer is my wife. I'll ask her, like, do you know who the heavyweight champion of boxing is right now? She has no idea. But then again, I think she said it was Floyd Mayweather the last time I asked her. That Floyd Mayweather is a bad dude, though. Yeah. He's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. It's almost like you could, like, I probably could have convinced her she was right. Like, yeah, Floyd Merriweather, he's 42-2. He's a beast. Nobody wants to stand in front of this guy. But yeah, I would just hate to see it get, so watered down. We've already got so many MMA promotions to keep up with, and then you got all this other stuff. So yeah, I'm not on board with the I guess we'll call it boxing with MMA gloves. So in case you were wondering what my opinion was on that. All right, let's see. Next week, UFC Vegas 44. That's what we're here to talk about, right? Rob Font and Jose Aldo. This is an interesting one. This is really interesting because Aldo has had this kind of resurgence in his career. Rob Font's on a hot streak, 4-fight win streak. Sergio Pettis, Ricky Simon, Marlon Moraes finished Marlon Moraes. And then, of course, the last win over Cody Garbrandt. And then Aldo is in the middle of this resurgence. Let's take a look at Aldo here. It's probably too small for you guys to read, but I have it up on the screen here. All right, 2 wins in a row, Pedro Munoz and Chito Vera. Before that, it was a 3-fight losing streak. Then he beat the shit out of Renato Moicano and TKO Jeremy Stevens with a nasty liver punch. That was brutal. It's, I can tell you what the UFC wants here. They want a changing of the guard. They want Rob Font to come through here and turn things over. But don't forget, Aldo's only 35. And he's been fighting for 47 years. Somehow. I don't know how the math adds up, but it does. Fighting 47 years, 35 years old. At 35, that's a hard 35. This dude's been in some wars. And, let's not forget, he used to have trouble making 145 pounds earlier in his career. Now he's going down to 135. I understand, he's got a better nutritionist and like a better workout regimen or whatever, but you're 35 years old going down to the lightest weight you've ever been at. He's younger than me. I wrestled at 138 pounds. I will never see that weight again. I'd have to cut both my legs off. It's just not how, the human body just doesn't work that way. Jose Aldo is a freak of nature, man. It's interesting. I don't know. I honestly don't know which way to lean on this one. Logic says Rob Font, the younger guy on the longer hot streak, should come in and put Aldo out of his misery. But how do you count Jose Aldo out? How do you say it's time for him to go out to pasture with the, the last 2 performances he's put on, having this resurgence at 135 pounds here? I don't know. I think it's a fun fight. Do I think it's like you need to clear your schedule kind of main event? No. This is like, yeah, I'm gonna try and watch it, but I have like an obligation to do that. I'm sure there's probably gonna be a lot of people that are gonna skip this one. Although with a week off, you never know. Brad Riddell and Rafael Fiziev. This fight is gonna be awesome. Fazeev is a video game character. And Brad Riddell is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-fight win streak. Just had that impressive victory over Drew Dober in June. And who did Fiziev lose to? Was it recent? Let's pull this up. So win over Bobby Green, win over Renato Moicano, win over Mark DeCasey. That was an awesome fight. That was the one where he bent himself in half backwards to avoid a kick. Win over Alex White. And then on UFC Fight Night, he got TKO by Magomed Mustalayev. So this is an exciting one to me. I imagine that Riddell is going to try and pressure Fiziev to try and keep him up against the cage so he doesn't get off any flashy strikes. Guys who strike like that, they need space to work with. And Brad Riddell is a good pressure fighter. So I imagine he's going to be pushing forward, trying to eliminate that space that Fiziev needs to get some wild stuff off. But then, Fiziev is good at controlling distance. So I feel like that's going to be the battle here is who can control the space in between is going to have success in this one. You guys can hear the noise outside the door. My daughter's playing with her friend from next door. So that's why I had the opportunity to sneak away, get away from Christmas decorations for an hour to to do the show here. We got Clay Guida and Leonardo Santos. Clay Guida won his last fight, didn't he? Let's pull this up here. This is why I need Jeff, so Jeff can talk while I look stuff up. Oh no, so Clay Guida lost a split decision to Marco Madsen. Silver medal wrestler. I feel like in my head when I see Clay Guida, I'm like, oh yeah, he's had a resurgence lately, but he's only won 2 of his last 6. So that's not good. I remember that. I remember him knocking out Joe Lozon. I felt like that was pretty recently. That was 4 years ago. So maybe that's when I was thinking that Clay Guida had a resurgence. So maybe not so much now. But regardless, I'm a big Clay Guida fan. I'll watch him. They could keep bringing him out into his 40s, and I'm fine with it. As long as he's still bouncing around like an orangutan. Here's a really fun fight: Jimmy Crute and Jamal Hill. I'm very interested to see how Jamal Hill bounces back from his last fight, getting his arm snapped in half by Paul Craig. That's the test for me. Is forget about the fact that you're getting in there with Jimmy Crute, who's a total beast, right? But there's got to be some bit of you, like, no matter how tough you are, you get your arm snapped in half, and next time you get in there, there's going to be some doubt. Like, even if you're the toughest dude on earth, which, Jamal Hill is up there with them. I mean, he let a guy snap his arm in half, but if that happens to you, I got to imagine you're going to have, at least the smallest bit of doubt. So I would like to see how Jamal Hill comes out in this fight. Because remember, that was not only did he get his arm snapped, that was his first loss. So he's got to deal with that too. And Jimmy Crute is nobody to get in there with if you're just looking to, like, let me see how I feel in this next fight. Like, you don't have that fight with Jimmy Crute. He's not going to allow you to have that fight. Mark says the only thing bouncing back will be Jamal's head off the canvas. Of course, I know Mark always rooting for the fellow countryman. Yeah, Jimmy Crute is legit, man. I wish Jeff was here because Jeff's a big Jimmy Crute fan. I'm sure he would have loved to talk about this. I have no clue where Jeff the Animal Wilson is. If anybody knows the whereabouts of the animal, Jeff Wilson, please get a hold of him. There's still time. He could still jump on. I did send him the link to join the show in the off chance that he saw my text messages, but Usually it takes Jeff a good few hours to respond to my texts. But only when I need an answer. Like when he has something random to tell me via text message, like I'll hear from him all the time. I'll text back and forth with him all day, and then I send him something I need an answer on, and he's gone. It's like his cell phone service gets disconnected for a few hours each day when I need to get a hold of him. But it's part of his charm. That's why I keep him around. Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis. Bryan Barberena was supposed to fight Matt Brown, I believe. Matt Brown came down with a pretty bad case of COVID. And Bryan Barberena determined to stay on the card. That was going to be a fun fight. As of now, he does not have an opponent. So he is fighting the ever-elusive unknown fighter. Maki Pitolo and Dusko Todorovic going to go at it. That'll be a fun one. Manel Cape is fighting Zalgas Zumagulov. You look at this guy's picture on SureDog. It's something to behold here. They got like this blurry, it looks like, like a high school yearbook backdrop. Like, why did they do this to this guy? Let's see. He's coming off a win submission over Jerome Rivera, and Manel Cape, I believe, just got his first UFC victory. Yeah, over O'Day Osborne with a flying knee. This is a guy who came in with a lot of hype because he was the champion over in Ryzen, I believe, and then was just fought way too tentative in his first two fights in the UFC. Didn't gain himself any fans and definitely didn't live up to the hype that he came in with. And I remember like both times he looked surprised that he lost when he spent the whole time like backing up. Like you just can't win fights that way. The judges are not that savvy to know that, you're sucking somebody into your game plan by doing that. But I think that'll be a fun fight. So there's that. Then we got Jake Matthews and Jeremiah Wells. That's a fun one. Cheyanne Bays and Mallory Martin. Somebody posted something that Cheyanne Bays is now fighting under her maiden name, which I don't have in front of me because I'm on SureDog, but I think it was on the UFC website. Correct me if I'm wrong on this guy. So I don't know if she's separated from her husband or if she just wanted to be separated from him, like not known as like, oh, it's this guy's wife. I don't know. I don't know what the story is there. I don't know if there even is a story. I might have just seen a misprint or something, but I remember a cool story with her. She won her last fight by head kick or something like that and won a bonus and was so excited that she was able to buy a house. Hopefully everything is well in her personal life. And, we'll see how it goes. Mark says change her name to Cheyanne Sells. That's a good one, Mark. I'm going to put that one in my back pocket. Cheyanne Sells. Here's my sleeper fight pick, folks. If you missed this entire card, make sure you tune in for the prelims. Alonzo Manifield and William Knight. Holy shit. Somebody's getting their head knocked off in this one. These are two thick motherfuckers that are going to be swinging at each other. This is a really fun fight, guys. William Knight is like one of the most dense dudes on the roster. He's like 5'2", 205 pounds. No, it's not that drastic, but let's see. What is his actual height? 5'10". And I don't think that's even correct. But this guy, like, that's as much power as you could put in a 5'10" frame. And then Manifield is just another like clobbering machine. Let's see, what are his stats here? 6 foot, 205 pounds. I don't think William Knight is 5'10". At least he hasn't looked at his last few fights. The blueprint to beat Manifield is to drag him into deep water, it seems like. And then he becomes, after that first round, he becomes, less dangerous. But in that first round, he's a fucking clobbering machine. I'm not missing this fight. I don't recommend that any of you do miss it either. I got to tell you guys, this old granddad is really helping my sore throat. It's either soothing it or it's making me not care about it anymore. Apologies for having to take so many sips of tea and whiskey throughout the show. Without Jeff here and me not at full vocal capabilities today, I got to make do. Here we have Philippe Lins against Azamat Murzakanov. This guy came off the Contender Series, Murzakanov. He's 10-0. He's a wrecking ball. Let me see what Philippe Lins has done lately, because now you guys are seeing all the behind the scenes that I don't know all the stuff off the top of my head. So 2 losses in a row. You got to think that Lins is, the lamb being led to slaughter here against Murzakanov. This dude had an impressive first round knockout on the Contender Series, I remember. And yeah, he's only been to decision twice in those 10 victories. This dude's a killer. 35 years old. This is his UFC debut. And he's a light heavyweight. If he was a heavyweight, I'd say 35 is perfect. That's like, you haven't even hit your prime yet. You don't hit your prime in heavyweight until you're, at least 41. Something like that. And then look at this fight hanging out here on the bottom of the card. Alex Murano and Mickey Gall. Nobody's talking about this. I'm more excited for the prelims, guys, than most of the main card. I'm excited to see Murzakanov in there. That dude's a killer. Alex Murano and Mickey Gall. You could put this on the main card for all I care. I don't even care. I don't even care if they're both coming off of 2 losses or whatever. I think this is a fun fight. And then the curtain jerker, so to speak, Louis Smolka and Vince Morales. So this is a fun fight card. I don't think it's getting anybody to cancel any plans or anything like that, but I have a feeling this is going to be one of those cards that like a bunch of people skip because it doesn't seem that good, and then it's just going to be amazing. Probably going to end up eating those words, but we'll see. All right, folks, what else we got here? If you guys want to throw anything at me, feel free. I don't mean physically throw anything at me, but if there's anything you want to talk about, let me know. But I just saw that Benildarius is booked to fight Islam Makachev. I think that's a fun fight. These are 2 guys at the top of the division who don't get the respect that they deserve, I understand Makachev hasn't really fought anybody yet, aside from Dan Hooker, but, that's not really his fault. Like, nobody wants to fight the guy. Like, you can't, like, there's been a ton of people just saying flat out, no, I'm not fighting that dude. And he's got, one of the sneakiest managers in the game, and Ali Abdelaziz, pushing him too. And he can't get him fights. This guy has made stuff happen in this sport that most people never could. So that's the criticism. But man, how are you doubting this guy after the way he just demolished Dan Hooker? Like, he beat Dan Hooker so bad, and Dan Hooker's a tall lightweight. He beat him so bad that he made him drop down in featherweight. He just did a test weight cut. I saw on his social media. So a lot of changes for Dan Hooker. He's moving away from New Zealand because of all the bullshit with COVID, and it's too hard to get in and out of the country, and he had to be separated for his family for longer than he wanted to be. So that whole gym, City Kickboxing, is moving somewhere here, Nevada maybe. I don't know, somewhere stateside. So he's got that change to deal with, and now he's going to change to fighting at featherweight, which, there's some fun matchups for him at featherweight. Let's see. So I don't know. What do you guys think about Darius and Makachev? That's like, as far as American fans go, I feel like most people don't give a shit about that fight. I know Makachev is huge worldwide, and Darius is a great fighter. He just doesn't move the needle for people. He's a humble guy. He's respectful. He's not talking trash. He just goes out and wins fights, and there's not a whole lot of appetite for that amongst the American fans. But I love the fight. I think it's awesome. The winner will probably fight the winner of, I imagine Gaethje's going to fight for the title after Poirier and Oliveira settle their business. And then the winner of this, I assume, will get the next title shot. How pissed would people be if it ends up being like Benildarius and Charles Oliveira fighting for the lightweight championship? The UFC would be like, what are we going to do? These guys aren't going to say a word to each other building up to this. How are we going to promote this? It's kind of a weird time right now because you have Dustin Poirier, who had a chance to fight for the title in his last fight, and he chose to fight Conor McGregor instead. This is a bigger payday. Does that devalue the belt a little bit? And now you got Charles Oliveira, like, coming out defending his championship. People are going to be like, what are you talking about? Thought Conor McGregor was the champion. Dustin Poirier just beat him. Perception is everything. But let's see. Mark says that Makachev is on the rise. He's a beast. He should handle Darius. But, man, Darius is good. He's really good. And he's a legit black belt too. So he'll probably get put on his back. I don't think he'll be able to out wrestle Makachev. But I imagine he's going to have a game plan in place. One thing Benildarius does is win fights. Like, he finds ways to win. But yeah, Makachev, he's scary dude. Down the line, Makachev and Gaethje will be fun because they've been going back and forth. Well, Ali Abdelaziz has been going back and forth with Gaethje from Makachev's Twitter account, which is weird because Ali also represents Gaethje, but he knows how to build hype, so he probably wants to keep them away from each other for as long as possible. But let's see. Mark wants to know, how old is Benildarius? Good question. He's one of those guys that probably looks a lot older than he is. Let's see. He's 32. Yeah, he looks 40. Yeah, 32 years old. Benildarius. Let's see what he's done lately. Here's his resume. Beat Tony Ferguson. Beat Carlos Fadea. Beat Scott Holtzman. Beat Drakkar Klose. Beat Frank Camacho. Beat Drew Dober. Beat Thiago Moises. He did get knocked out by Alexander Hernandez, but that was back in 2018. Yeah, I mean, remember he had that nasty spinning back fist knockout over Scott Holtzman. Yeah, so I'm excited for this card next week, guys. Let's see. Let me just check. I'll just skim the news real quick. I did read that Diego Sanchez got a really bad case of COVID as well. So hopefully he's doing okay. It seems like it's giving him blood clots in his brain and everything. So that's scary stuff, man. Edson Barbosa's going to fight Bryce Mitchell. That's a fun fight. That's a really fun fight. I don't know when that's happening, but I see that it is, and I like it. Okay, the rest of the headlines are all about the Triller Triad stuff. So, Mark thinks that Brad Riddell and Fiziev will be fight of the night. I can't argue with that. Again, my sleeper pick, the pick that more people should be talking about and they're not, is Manifield and Knight. That's such an awesome fight. I'm really looking forward to that one. That's like, King Kong and Godzilla. That's going to be awesome. All right. I think that'll do it for this week, folks. I already mentioned the merchandise. Again, I don't know where Jeff is. So if anybody can get a hold of Jeff the Animal Wilson, Mark also says that Crute and Matthews will be performance of the night. Hometown boys, supporting the hometown. I love it. I had the headphones ready just in case Jeff jumped on at any point. He'll probably jump on like right as I end the broadcast. That would be so Jeff. He just pop up like, "Hey, Bill." But if you guys want to get a hold of Jeff, let him know that you missed him this week. Do so on Twitter and Instagram at animal_Wilson. And you guys know how to get a hold of me. It's at MMA on the Rocks everywhere on social media. As always, I appreciate your feedback, your criticism. You can tell me I suck. As long as you give me a reason, like give me something I can fix. I can't fix like any of this. Can't fix the face, or my voice. But as far as the things I talk about, if there are other things you want to hear about that I'm not hitting on, let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate all the shares, comments, help the algorithm a lot. Please comment on the YouTube video, share it out, all that good stuff. Tell your friends. Mark says, if I can't get a hold of Jeff, how are we supposed to? I don't know, Mark. If I knew the answer, maybe somebody out there will have better luck than me. Maybe it's just me he doesn't want to talk to. I don't know. I can't explain that, man. But that's why I keep him around. All right, that's all I got. I made it through. I made it through an hour of this talking by myself with a sore throat. So I need to have some more whiskey and tea and knock this thing out. And that's it. I'll talk to you guys next week. Till next time. Cheers, everybody. Bye.